Do you hate being able to see your GoPro pole in your photos and videos? Well, the product we're going to talk about today might be a solution for you, or you might decide that it's really just not worth trying to get rid of. So the product we're talking about is the UK Pro Pivot 4-inch extension. So how this works is you mount it to the end of your GoPro pole, and it gives you a little bit more elevation between the bottom of your camera and the pole. This allows you to more easily remove and angle the camera in a way that the GoPro pole doesn't actually end up in the shot. So it works with UK Pro poles, but it also comes with an end pole adapter, so you could probably use it with a fair number of other poles, although whether or not they will work is something you're going to have to look at and figure out for yourself. To mount it, you just remove the bolt from the standard GoPro mount at the end of the thing, and then you slide the extension bar onto the pole. Now the bolt which you use to mount this is a little bit longer because you are going through one extra leg. So you screw this in, and the extension is now mounted, and you can see that when it's flat, it is basically just a 4-inch extension for the end of your pole, but because it's got its own pivot point, you can fold it up and have it perpendicular to the GoPro pole. Then you grab your GoPro camera, slide it on top, and we're ready to shoot some test footage. With the GoPro mounted, we can shoot some test footage of it through our GoPro camera. So right now, I got the GoPro mounted on top of the extension bar, which is attached to the carbon fiber POV gear pole. You can see the angle at which it is attached is slightly more than 90 degrees. So if you put this at 90 degrees, you still will see part of the handle in the shot. So you do have it tilted back a little bit to get rid of that pole being in the shot, but it is less dramatic than otherwise if you didn't have this extension. It does mess with the weight balance of the pole a fair bit, so it is more top heavy. Not a huge amount, it's not that bad. It definitely isn't really that noticeable. It's just something to keep in mind. And let's take the extension off so we can have a look at what the footage looks like without it. I've now removed the extension, and I've got the camera just mounted directly onto the GoPro pole. And as you can see, the footage is, well, the same, except for the fact that my hand and the pole is now in the shot. Now you could correct for this. You'll notice right now I have the camera at basically the same angle it was when it was mounted on the extension pole, but if I tilt this camera up to about here, we actually fully remove the pole from the shot because the pole is at an angle that it will not show up in your photos and videos. So you do have to hold the pole a little bit more up, so you don't get quite the same reach. But if you're okay with that, you can still remove the pole from your shots without having to add an extension. Now, there's going to be diminishing returns with the extension. If you're going to be using it on short poles, it's going to be great, and you're going to be able to have the camera basically vertical or perpendicular to the pole, and you're going to be able to get photos and videos without the pole in your shot. But as you go farther and farther away from yourself with the pole, so as you extend the pole, you're going to have to continue to increase that angle to make the handle of the pole not show up in the shot. Keep that in mind, but for short poles and for short uses, not for short uses, it's good for all day uses, but for shorter poles, it is definitely a good way to remove the pole from your shot without losing or without having to angle the camera up. So there you go, there's the camera angled up, mounted on the GoPro pole, and as you can see, the pole is not part of the shot, but I am having to hold the camera at a slightly higher angle than I was with the extension installed. So this brings us to the question, is the extension something that you should get for your GoPro camera? Does it add to your shooting experience? And I don't really think it does. For one, I don't think it's a huge problem to have a GoPro pole in a self-portrait shot. It seems to be something which we see all the time, and it's just kind of the norm when you shoot with GoPros. It's cool when it's not there, but it doesn't seem to be something that really bothers people when it is. I do know that GoPro made a big deal when they released a three-way about how, because of the angles, you didn't end up with the pole in the shot, but I don't think it's really a big problem to have it in the shot. and it's very easy to remove it from the shot by just angling the camera up a little bit. So the extension is cool, but I don't think it's something that you really need. Yes, there are people who it'd be great for if you're going to be shooting with shorter GoPro poles and you really want to get some elevation off of the pole. Cool, it's cool. Check it out. But for most of us, I don't really see the point. It also adds bulk to the pole. So when you have to carry around, when you take the camera off and you have the GoPro pole by itself, you now have a 4-inch extension on the end of that. It means your collapse length, your pole has increased by 4 inches. There's ways around this. The one that I was using was to remove the bolt that held the extension onto the pole instead of the bolt that held the camera onto the extension. And then I would just have the camera on the end of a nice little hand grip. That 4-inch extension turns into a great hand grip when it's removed from the GoPro pole. So there are little workarounds like that, but at the end of the day, it's not something I'm going to be adding to my kit bag every time I go shooting. Yeah. But if you're looking for a useful little hand grip and a way of elevating your GoPro pole off of your GoPro off of your GoPro pole, you should check it out. It's the UK Pro POV 4-inch extension. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching. If you've got any questions or comments, leave them down below. If you like the video, give it a like and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any updates. But guys, most of all, until next time, thank you very, very much for watching.